I'm wondering, with a show of hands, how many of you have seen the new movie Wonder Woman? Okay, a few of you, yes. I have to confess that I saw it. But, in my defense, I never would have gone to that movie, ever, if I didn't belong to a group of soul sisters that traveled together once a year, and it came out, and we all agreed we would go to it together. But I wouldn't have gone because the superhero movies are usually about 90% violence and about 10% at the very end, good comes in victorious. And so I have to close my eyes for most of the movie because I don't want to see those images. So I am sitting in the movie theater with my eyes closed thinking, are you crazy? You spent your money for this? But I agreed to go. And guess what? That movie was just like that. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen it. At the very end, good triumphs. Love wins. The good defeats the evil. But oh my goodness, what a journey to get there. I mean, I tell you, there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of blood and guts and gore. And yet, superhero movies are blockbusters. Superhero stories are universally popular. The idea of destroying evil, destroying darkness, and cheering somebody on that has the power to do that is overwhelming. It gives us hope. We aren't so afraid in this world if we know that the good guys are gonna win. If we know that love is still the biggest force in all of the universe, then we don't have to be so afraid. Some people look at God that way, as a superhero, ever powerful, omnipotent, always standing on the side of love, always standing on the side of right, victorious. God, the superhero, keeps us safe, loves us unconditionally no matter what, empowers us, and helps us defeat the bad guys. So I started to wonder, I wonder if these two are related, Wonder Woman and God. Maybe they are kissing cousins. And the more important question for me is this popularity about superheroes because God's popularity is going down? I don't know if you noticed, but the popularity of that old white man with the long beard that lives in the sky is going down. So is this why we need superheroes? To help us negotiate and feel safe in our world. To inspire us to be braver, to fight for justice and for fighting for what is right. I think so. I think that's part of the package of superheroes. So let's start with Wonder Woman before we look at God. Wonder Woman was created in 1941 by William Marston in response to the increasingly more violent male superheroes that were being created. Marston wanted Wonder Woman to be a kinder, gentler, more noble, more compassionate, more loving superhero than her male counterparts. Her creator was a psychologist who said, Wonder Woman is a psychological propaganda for the new type of woman who I believe should rule the world. He was introducing a strong, powerful female who was able to stay connected to her heart, even though her quest was to save the world. Gentle but strong, and propagating this into our social consciousness that women are able to be strong and yet still connected to their heart. In the latest Wonder Woman movie, she was both. She was able to deflect. She has these metal things on her wrist that she is able to deflect bullets when they come at her from a whole army. She has a shield that can deflect anything that comes at her. She has a lasso of golden rope that she can wrap around you, and it compels you to tell the truth. All the while, she's demonstrating empathy, love, concern for other people, for the world. She's truly a combination of both. But, and this is the most amazing Wonder Womanish thing in the world in the movie. Wonder Woman, as she is filming, is pregnant. In real life. I don't know if you knew that. They had to keep letting out her costume. They had to put in a green screen to shrink her back down in post-production so that she could continue to look like Wonder Woman while she actually was Wonder Woman, forming a baby. And if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. So, if you were picking teams, people to be on your team to fight the bad guys, do you think you would pick her? I would. She would be my first pick, as a matter of fact. She would be my first round draft choice right away. I want you on my team. But alas, Wonder Woman, the comic book character, is only a fantasy. In real life, it's different than that. Wonder Woman in real life, as Michelle Holmes said it so clearly, is not a fictional character in a comic book. Wonder Woman is a mindset. I believe this is true about God as well. God is not a fictional character in a comic book. God is a mindset. And the mindset says, you are a light in this world. You have a light inside of you that you can call upon. I'm here to tell you, I think Wonder Woman and God are not that different from each other. As mindsets, they both offer us something from which we can pull out energy. We can reach deep down inside when we're afraid and pull forth a Wonder Woman. And pull forth, I am the light of the world. And pull forth an energy that lets us do superhero things that we think we cannot do. An example of this, I want to read you a little bit from Richard Bach's book, Running from Safety. In this book, Richard's 59-year-old self goes back in time and meets his 9-year-old self. His 9-year-old, very frightened little boy. And Richard tells his little boy not to worry. You're going to be okay. Something's going to happen in your future, and you will be okay. Well, of course, the 9-year-old wants to know, well, what happens? So Richard tells him this memory he has from middle school. When he's hanging out with two of his middle school friends over summer vacation, they are bored and they want some excitement in their life. So one of the boys says, I think we should drink some beer. And Richard says to himself, I don't think we should drink some beer. I'm too young to drink beer. They will notice. We will get in trouble. No, I don't think we should do this. This is not a good idea. So he says that to his two friends who laugh at him, taunt him, tease him, tell him that he's a baby and he's a sissy. So he finally relents. He says to himself, okay, it can't be that bad. I'm not going to get drunk on just one beer, and I have heard it tastes delicious. Now, I don't know if you remember your first taste of beer, but I'm willing to bet it did not taste delicious. In fact, Richard gags on it. And he says, oh, come on, you guys, this is crazy. This stuff tastes like something from my chemistry set. His friend Mike retorts, "It's ferment." Ferment is the word. It's beer, for crying out loud. It's not how it tastes. It's not whether or not you like it. You like it after you drink more. You have to drink all of it, Richard. Richard, I froze in fear. Did I have to do this no matter what feels right to me? Is this growing up having to do what other people do? I don't want to be part of what's happening here. How do I get out of it? Help me. And this is where Wonder Woman shows up. Here's Richard again. For answer, there was an explosion in the back of my head. Doors blown open off their hinges. A living force crashing in, seething, saying to me, "What does he mean you have to? Richard Bach, you don't have to." Nothing that you don't want to do. And at that moment, I slammed my beer on the table. Coming out the top came the beer flying. I do not, Mike, I do not have to. Nobody can tell me have to anything. The two stared at me wordless, drinks in the air. I do not, I said. I sprang to my feet, daring them to lift a finger to stop me. Nobody, including you. Storming out, slamming the door behind me, I watched as astonished as my two friends did. Who is this wild man? Who took me over? Someone came up from behind, lunged in, and grabbed me, threw me out of the way, didn't care what I thought or I felt. He was just mad. Well, I stalked down the street, a little impressed, and I said, I suddenly feel strong inside. I feel balanced. I feel like I am walking on solid ground for the first time in my life at 12 years old. I blinked, I smiled a little, and then I laughed out loud. This guy, this ferocious guy, is me. He's me. He's in there. He takes care of me. He cares about me. I have one tough bodyguard. And I'm here to tell you, you do too. You have one tough bodyguard inside of you. An energy that you can pull out anytime you need it. You know, we go through life thinking there are giants. Thinking there are people that know, thinking there are people that make the rules for the world and we have to follow them, that we are small and helpless. The Wonder Woman energy, the God energy that says you are a light in this world, is different than that. And once you realize that's inside of you, then you can also begin the process of writing the rules for your own life. Being the captain of your own ship, where you get to direct it any way you want to go. And then suddenly, when we realize, I have this energy inside of me that is ferocious and can show up when I'm afraid, then those giants, your parents, your partners, your children, your grandchildren, your bosses, your coaches, all those people, your relationship with them changes. Because suddenly they are not the giant in your life, but you are. They shrink down very small, and they no longer have your power because you have it inside of you. I want to tell you a story about a client I saw this week. For those who are new, I'm a psychotherapist. And I had a client that came in who I really admire. She's a very smart person. She's a very educated person. She's an amazing human being. And she was telling me about a hearing that she had this week with her ex-husband, because her ex-husband hadn't paid child support in 5 years. She had finally had enough, and she pressed charges. And this week, there she was, standing there with her ex next to her in front of the judge. The judge said to them, "You have 3 choices. The first choice is you can go with that mediator right now in that room over there and sit down and come up with a payment plan. Your second choice is you can reset your court date and get an attorney. Your third choice is you can reset your court date for trial." Well, her ex picked option number 2, to reset the court date so he could get an attorney. The judge, however, said, "Now wait a minute. You were served 8 weeks ago. Why haven't you gotten an attorney in that time period?" The man said, "Well, because the papers were served to my son, not to me. I just got them from him a week ago." Now my client was livid. She said to herself, "Oh, you've got to be kidding. That isn't true. Nobody served our 7-year-old papers. And when he told me 2 weeks ago that he couldn't find his papers, I made copies and I gave it to him. He's had plenty of time to get an attorney." Now the unspoken, as a therapist, my job is to speak the unspoken out loud, so I did it as quietly and gently as I could, but I said to her, "Did you say those things out loud?" And she said no, she didn't. She didn't say any of those things out loud. She was hoping that the judge would ask her. She was hoping that the judge would turn and say, "What do you think about this?" She just stood there. And you know what? That was the time when Wonder Woman needed to show up. That was the time when she needed to be reaching in, pulling out that extra self, and having Wonder Woman courage. She was, after all, standing on the side of right. He hadn't paid child support in 5 weeks. He was just delaying it a little bit longer. When I mentioned this to her, that possibility that she could have spoken up, she was actually surprised by that. She was stunned. She said, "I didn't think I was allowed to do that in the courtroom. I thought the judge might get mad at me." And I told her, "Oh no, you're allowed. You're allowed to speak up in the courtroom. You're allowed to be the captain of your ship. In fact, you're the only one who can be the captain of your ship." I said, "You know what? You need to practice raising your hand and saying, 'Excuse me, Judge, that is not true. I have evidence. We have a 7-year-old. Nobody would serve him the papers.'" I said, "You know, the judge might get mad at you. Try to be polite, but speak up. If she gets mad at you for speaking the truth, that's okay. Don't be afraid of that. You've already put the truth on the table." And that's what we need to do. Think only of the wire, getting to the other end, speaking our truth out loud. That's what I liked most about the movie. Wonder Woman had this golden rope lasso that she could lasso people and they would have to tell the truth. I say, lasso yourself. Tell yourself a higher truth, that you are capable, that you are in charge of your life. Nobody else is. Stop playing the victim. You have the power inside of you all the time to overcome your fear and to do what Eleanor Roosevelt said, to do the things we think we cannot do. I sent my client home with a simple exercise, which I will give to you as well. When I was in my early 20s, our ballet company where I danced had a Broadway director come in to teach us about stage presence. He had us circle up and look at each other and just say our name out loud. And every single one of us apologized for our name. "Hi, I'm Patti." "Hi, I'm Patti." "Hi, I'm Patti." Every single one of us. Nobody could just stand strong. Keep your eye on the wire. Straight ahead, concentrate on taking your place on the stage. He said to us in every dance production, whether it's a ballet or whether it's a Broadway show, your eye goes to somebody. He said, your eye goes to the one who has that extra energy. He looked at us and said, make sure it's you. Make sure it's you. Make sure you have that energy. He was really saying, pull forth your Wonder Woman. He was really saying, claim your space on the planet. You know, Michael Jackson did that. He could be on stage, and he could have 20 dancers on stage with him, the best dancers in the world. And you would still watch Michael, because he claimed his space, and he had that Wonder Woman, Superman, I'm the light of the world energy. Michael Jordan did it too. He's said to be the best basketball player that ever lived, and I believe that, because I would love to watch him. He would get that look in his eye, that determination, that keeping always your eye on the wire. Keep focused to where you're going. And no matter what, he would win. If the team was really, really behind, he would just stop playing as a team. He would get in his own ship and direct his ship. If they were behind 40 points, he would get 40 points for them. 60 points, he would get 60 points for them, because he drove his ship where he wanted it to go. One of my girlfriends said to me this week when we were talking about this sermon, she said, oh, I remember my Wonder Woman moment. And I thought, wow, I love that, a Wonder Woman moment. It was when she was divorcing her husband. She found out that he had cheated on her multiple times. She had put up with a lot, and she was afraid of leaving and being a single mom and not having very much income. Her family told her, her whole family told her, oh, I don't think you can do it. We don't think you're going to be able to do that. And she reached in and she brought out her Wonder Woman and she said, just watch me. And she did it. She walked forward into a better life. What about you? What do you need to pull out your Wonder Woman energy for? What is it that will make your life better? Your life more in line with who you are in this world. What do you need to be doing to get your ship out of the harbor? Because as you know, ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what they're built for. Go for it. Do the stuff that is scary in your life that you know is pushing you. Pull forth that energy. But I will give you fair warning. When you do this, some people will be appalled. Some people will be intimidated, shocked, amazed that for once you are standing up for yourself. You are having a voice. You are standing for your value system. You are pulling out your Wonder Woman. It's okay if they feel those ways, if they feel shocked or intimidated or scared of you. It doesn't matter. It's like the quote from Alice in Wonderland, when the Mad Hatter asked Alice, have I gone mad? And Alice says, I'm afraid so. You are extremely mad. But I will tell you a secret. All the best people are. All the best people break out of the mold they think they're supposed to be small and remain in. They break out of the mold to actually become who they are. Because as Marianne Williamson so famously said, you do not serve the world by staying small. Don't be afraid of your own power. Don't be afraid to use your power. We all have it. We all have it inside of us, and you can call it whatever you want. Wonder Woman, God, the light, the great mystery of light, the higher energy, or maybe just plain courage. Call it whatever you want. But reach down and pull it out of you. Reach down and do like Bellini did. Do what you think you cannot do. I think you will be pleasantly surprised that you can with your Wonder Woman energy. Go back to school. Get sober. Write that book you've been wanting to write. Quit your job. Fix your marriage. Whatever it is, I want to tell you, life is short. I encourage you to reach in, get that energy, and get started. Blessed be, and amen.
I extinguish this chalice, but not the light that's in each one of you. Remember that light energy is there for you any time you need it.